So this is a review for Eatin on the Cuff, or The Moth Who Came to Dinner. Now, is that the longest Looney Tunes title? I don't know. But it was released in 1942. It's the 378th in the series, and it's directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Gone Collection Volume 5 DVD set. A HD version is out there, but hey, it's in the public domain, so I'll play it for you at the end of this review. But in case you haven't seen this one, it's pretty straightforward. We have a narrator, played by an actor in a live-action hit, explaining about the story of the moth and the bee, and they're about to get married. It's the moth's wedding day, so he's on his way, but gets distracted by a bar. A spider then comes along, wanting to have this moth as her prey, and tries to seduce him, notably as Veronica Lake. But anyway, we'll get into that. So first up, you're going to see some highlights of the original audio commentary, which is still up on the channel, but for consistency's sake, I thought I'd have the highlights here. And that's with my good friend Blue Genocide, who's helping to re-edit this video, and my good friend Steph Stilley. Then after that, I'm going to go through a few things that I missed last time, and then you can watch the cartoon for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into it. And with me today are my fellow moths, I guess, Blue Genocide and Steph Stilley. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I want to point out that this the actor playing piano is a guy named Leo White, a British actor, and he was actually a colleague of Charlie Chaplin. They did a lot of stage work together when they first came to America, and he shows up in a lot of Chaplin shorts from like 1916. And if you've seen The Great Dictator, he plays the barber who shaves Adenoid Hinkle in that one, in a really great sequence.
The moth might be doing somebody a favor by eating that coat. That coat is ugly.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually have the sound recording equipment, so it's basically Leo White just being dubbed by Mel Blanc. That's why it sounds really weird. I mean, the dubbing is okay. It's not too bad.
You know what? I am kind of disappointed at Clampett here, because the dress gag, I'm really surprised it didn't become a swimsuit.
But you can see a dirty joke there.
Oh, true.
It's stuck in a dirty joke, because I wonder what the thing was being chewed through. I'll leave it at that. But here's a funny gag that gets me every single time because of how stupid it is. It is so stupid that this tick tock, look what time is on the clock. It was just the most random, stupidest. It's similar to that other clock gag. It's 12 o'clock. Whoa. So I don't know what it is with me and funny clocks, but
I really like this cartoon because it really shows. I like it when Clampett gets cute. Cartoon's like the perfect mix of Clampett's cuteness and his depravity at the same time.
Yeah, because I think she turns into a caricature of Veronica Lake, apparently. And,
yeah, and then there's one moment. This scene right here always makes me. I have to say that might be the most phallic animated moment I've ever seen in a classic cartoon. That's Clampett for you. It's
the spider character is based off a character Cabina on the Bob Hope show, saying, oh, look, a man. That's what according to Jerry Beck in his commentary. Such a solid cartoon. This one really is a gem. I really do think so. After watching it, it's not one that many people may know about.
An early version of the run cycle. I might be a little desync from you guys, but the spider's run cycle over the coffee, that is pretty much an early version of the Pepe Le Pew, like, hop.
Oh yeah, doing. Disney did their own, like, a Silly Symphony short, The Moth and the Flame, and
yeah, it's an
I
old,
don't know
like,
if this is just a direct setup.
It's an old, like, nursery rhyme. It goes back a really long time.
Because I don't think this was just a direct setup of that Silly Symphonies. I think it was just, maybe just from the nursery rhyme, as you mentioned. But wow, look at the shadow. It's just shadow animation, just so happy. Do not up until Christmas. We want to be alone. Like, what was that all about? Oh, she's pissed. Peanut, she's pissed.
I love the Clampett, like, wide-eyed stare. Like, right at the camera. I assume it's always one person
Oh.
animating that. Do you guys know who like does those shots? Because I assume it's like one person.
I like it says father in the corner there in the picture, by the way.
That's a joke right out of the Three Little Pigs, Silly Symphony.
Because I think it's a Black Widow spider, isn't it, here? If that's the case, then that's a pretty dark joke to have father in the wall like that. So those were the original highlights of the commentary, which again, you can still listen to on the channel. But there's a few things I wanted to go through here. So this is the last Clampett black and white short. But by this point, I do wonder if part of this being black and white might be due to the fact that you have the live action bookending this particular short, because live action Technicolor was very, very expensive at the time. But even putting that aside, where, okay, they could have maybe borrowed a camera, like a Technicolor camera, right? Well, you also got to factor in the processing costs of Technicolor at the time, which was way more expensive than black and white. But on top of that, there might have been an issue about blending live action and animation. It might have been just easier to do in black and white. I don't know. But I do like the fact that Clampett seems to be going back to doing the more realistic backgrounds, which he had been doing for a fair while. But here he goes all the way. So he's got live action bookends, as mentioned. But in the short itself, you see a lot of live photographs of pants and tops and that sort of thing. Now, the title, as I raised the question, is that the longest Looney Tunes title? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, if you can think of a longer title, let me know. But there's two references there. So the first part of it is eating on the cuff, and that's just a reference at the time to eat without charge. So I don't know if that's an older reference to what we call dine and dash. I don't know. But anyway, that's what it's referring to. But The Moth Who Came to Dinner is a play on the 1942 Warner Brothers movie The Man Who Came to Dinner. So there's that. Now, we've already discussed Leo White in the commentary, but I just wanted to point out, based on Keith Scott's wonderful Cartoon Voices book, he points out that Leo White is mimicking to the soundtrack, and of course is voiced by Mel Blanc. Now, he also mentions Mickey Ford as the lyricist who attended the recording, and also the studio pianist Dave Klatskin, who actually did the piano work too. So not only is Leo White mimicking the vocals of Mel Blanc, but he's also mimicking the piano playing that was done by Dave. And much like You Ought to Be in Pictures with live action, I mean, they had a camera, and they obviously used it here, but they didn't have a boom mic, so it would have just been a case of, yeah, they probably used the same camera that they did when they did the live action bits on You Ought to Be in Pictures. But I love this song in the beginning, and it sets everything up perfectly. So within the first minute, you know what you're in for. You know that the Moth and the Bee are going to get married, and the Moth is going to wake up and go to his wedding at 3 o'clock. So yeah, it's really great how story-wise that's done. And I like the designs of the Moth and the Bee. It's just so appealing. You know, when Clampett does cutes, like, he can do grotesque really well. These crazed, deranged drawings, especially if they're done animated by Rod Scribner, but he can do these sweet and charming little designs. It's amazing. Absolutely. Like, Clampett really was brilliant in a lot of that stuff. And speaking of brilliant, I love the timing of the Moth eating all the suits. So he's just really excited. He's going to have a big, I guess, breakfast or something, and he's going to get ready to go and marry his gal, as you Americans would say. But I like the idea that he's walking by and we hear saloon-type music, so he's walking past the bar. And I like the idea here that if this was people instead of insects, and yes, I'm aware a spider's not an insect, I know, don't at me in the comments, yeah? But if it was humans doing this, it would have been a guy walking in the bar getting distracted. He might drink too much or whatever. But here, okay, he doesn't drink, but he definitely goes on a bit of a pants bender, fashion bender, material bender. I don't know what you want to call this, but he definitely has his fill and he's all nice and full. And he mentions pre-war cuffs, and that would have been a reference to metal shortages during the war. So someone obviously didn't donate their pre-war cuffs to the war efforts, you know, the scrap metal drive that they were doing at the time. And we even briefly hear, my oh my, and that's a reference to Eddie Rochester, who would have exclaimed such things. And not only in the Jack Benny show, like Rochester himself doing that, but also many, many parodies you'll hear in a lot of Clampett shorts, my oh my, tattletale white, and that sort of thing. Then we actually see the bee, and she's all sad as, well, of course, if you're a bride and your groom hasn't shown up, oh, what else are you going to do, right? Of course you'd be sad about it. And she mentions, where oh where has my little moth gone? And there is a song called Where oh where has my little dog gone? Yeah, got a nice little reference there. And eventually we see this spider, and the spider's ridiculous nose. And I already made some mention of the references in regards to what she says in the commentary track, but there's definitely a few more. So her disguise becomes a parody of Veronica Lake, but do yourself a favor, maybe don't slow-mo on the nose bit. It looks very questionable, if you get my meaning, and it must be done intentionally. But what is amazing is the animation of the spider rushing back to the moth and the clothes coming afterwards. If you slow-mo that, that's really, really funny. But again, we get another nose being exposed moment, which again is quite questionable when freeze-framed. In fact, a lot of Bob Clampett shorts, especially later on, if you freeze-frame certain moments, they look very interesting. Let me put it that way. So we see a chase scene across a food table, and the moth is running across these ice cubes. And one thing that I did miss is that the spider stops for a moment saying something out of Uncle Tom's Cabin. And that refers to a bit in the Uncle Tom's Cabin book where Uncle Tom is being chased by bloodhounds across an icy lake. If you haven't read the book, I haven't, but I've looked into where that would have come from, and that's pretty much what it is. So the moth goes away. She's very frustrated. So she looks up a book saying moths are attracted to flames. And so we see this beautiful animation of the flame, I guess, seducing the moth, hypnotizing the moth, whatever you want to call it, and she takes the moth back to her house. And if you look at the signs on the front, of course, there's a Christmas reference there, and I'm actually recording this track only a few days before Christmas, funnily enough, but one of the signs says, "We want to be left alone," and that is a reference to Greta Garbo and how notoriously private she was in real life. And by this point, or very soon, she would actually stop acting in films, and she'll become one of the most notoriously private individuals ever. So the bee overhears that her man is in trouble, so she ends up flying and being referenced as a B-19, and that's a reference to the plane, the Douglas XB-19, and that was a heavy bomber used by the US in World War II. And we also hear a reference to the spider saying, confidentially, she stings, and that's a reference to a line from You Can't Take It With You, directed by Frank Capra. And of course, it's confidentially, she stinks. Well, that's used in quite a few shorts anyway. And the animation of this fight scene is really good. But I do have to wonder, though, with this short, what doesn't make sense is that she saves the moth, and yet she goes, my hero. Like, hang on, he didn't save you. But anyway, whatever. And we finish off with the wonderful bookend with Leo White not understanding how the bee and the moth could be together. And yeah, it ends in the only way it could end. So as for the short itself, look, I gotta say, this is one of those nice little gems. It's not really talked about too often, and maybe it's because it's black and white, maybe because it's in public domain and people have seen this a lot, I don't know. Compared to some of the more famous Clampett shorts around this time, I can understand how this one could be left behind, but it's a shame. This one's a nice little gem. It shows that Clampett can be cute as well as funny and quote-unquote grotesque. So this one gets an 8 out of 10 for me. But you be the judge and let me know if you think this is one of those little gems that deserves to be rediscovered. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.
I'll tell you the story of the moth and his flame, but promise that you'll try to keep it quiet. The lady was a honeybee with marriage as her aim, and he lived on a fabricated diet. Now the moth told the bee, come on, honey, marry me, so tomorrow wedding bells will surely ring. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding, and today's the day that wedding bells will ring. In a suit of fancy clothes, we find our boyfriend in a doze. 'Twas a zoot suit with a neat pleat nicely stitched. Get up, you lazy creature, eat your breakfast, find a preacher, 'cause at 3 o'clock today you're getting hitched.
Oh, happy day. Here comes the groom, straight as a broom, all purdied up with instant perfume. Voltopion, voltopion, voltopidoo, and a razzmatazz. Nice piece of material. And pre-war cuffs, too. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
My oh my!
Oh, darn those zippers.
Tick tock, look what time is on the clock. There sat the bride, but she cried and cried and cried. Oh, where has her little moth gone? Oh, where can he be?
Oh, my gosh, it's 3:30.
So our little pal, the moth, who was fed up with the cloth, decided he was late and how he ran. Ah, but a big black widow spider dropped beside him with a bang. And with hungry eyes, she cackled.
Look, a man! Player Jack! Whoop, whoop! Something like Uncle Tom's Cabin, ain't it?
But the moth could not be had, and it made the widow mad. Just to think there was a man she couldn't tame.
I don't want to set the world on fire, but it says the moth's attracted by a flame. Confidentially, she stings.
My hero. Oh, shucks. 'Twan't nothing.
So they built a little nest, and they settled in a vest, and lived happy ever after on the cuff. But you know, folks, I never could understand what that cute little bee could see in that silly moth. What a dope.
Oh, yeah!